This video is about the fiber view of the human body. According to the particle view of the human body can be treated as a collection of an infinite number of infinitely small particles. This object will represent a particle in this video. This picture shows a small number of the particle objects gathered together in the shape of a human body to provide an example of what the particle view of the human body looks like. The particle view of the human body is not very useful because in order to describe the construction or behavior of the human body, it would be necessary to describe the behavior of every single one of the infinite number of particles that comprise the particle view of the human body. If the individual particles of the particle view of the human body were grouped together in some way, they could be dealt with more efficiently and more usefully. Any method of grouping the particles together that reduce the infinite number of particles into a more manageable number of objects would be more efficient and more useful. The simplest organized way to group particles together would be to place them one in front of the other, as shown in this picture. Every particle has a particle in front of it and a particle in back of it, except for the particles at either end of the group. The particles in this picture are separated by a small distance. In the next picture, each particle has been partially merged into the neighboring particles, so they form one long solid object. The object that is formed by connecting single particles together in this fashion can be called a fiber. A familiar example of a fiber would be the thread used for sewing clothes. According to the fiber view of the human body can be treated as a collection of an infinite number of infinitely thin fibers. The very thin rectangular box in this picture will represent a fiber. This picture shows a rectangular grid of the fiber objects. The fibers have alternating colors, so the individual fibers can be seen more clearly. A human body is positioned next to the grid of fibers in this picture. The human body is then moved into the center of the grid of fibers. The overhead view of the two objects is then shown, so the location of the human body in the center of the grid of fibers can be verified. Next, all of the fibers that lay outside of the boundaries of the model human body are removed. What remains is a grid of vertically running fibers in the shape of a human body. This picture demonstrates the fiber view of the human body. The camera then moves and rotates around the collection of fibers to verify they form the complete shape of a human body. This example of the fiber view of the human body used a grid of fibers that were vertically straight to make the demonstration simple and clear. The actual fiber patterns within the human body are much more complex than simple straight lines. These more complex fiber patterns can take on many different shapes such as a cylinder, a torus, or an egg shape. All of the different fiber patterns within the human body are interwoven with each other. A pair of nylon pantyhose will be used to demonstrate how the fiber patterns within the human body are woven together. Nylon pantyhose are made from a vertical pattern of fibers and a horizontal pattern of fibers that are woven together. This is a close-up picture of a pair of nylon pantyhose. The arrows in this picture highlight some of the interwoven vertical and horizontally running fibers. The more complex fiber patterns within the human body can be visualized as if they are interwoven, exactly like the simplistic, vertical and horizontally running fiber patterns are interwoven in a pair of nylons. This picture shows a statue of a human body. In this picture, the nylons have been pulled down over the head of the statue all the way down to its feet. Instead of a solid appearing surface, the statue now looks like it is composed of an interwoven pattern of vertical and horizontally running fibers. This picture is the fiber view of the human body. Visualize this exact picture except with more complex patterns of fibers covering the surface of the statue, and that is exactly how the fiber view of the human body looks. The fiber patterns would of course extend from the front to the back of the body, instead of covering only the surface of the body, as the nylons do in this example. The fiber view of the human body is especially useful in explaining the concept that the human body is one large interconnected piece, and explaining how any stimulus of any part of the human body will have some effect on every other part of the human body. Those explanations will be presented in future videos of this series.